or tune it in the sun. This is TFM, get ready to rock. From AM to PM, come on, let's talk.
TFM 95.4.
Let's talk.
Live on TFM and the TFM Facebook page. This is the live feed of TTV. Let's talk.
Hello and welcome to the midday update. These are the headlines. Carbon pollution levels in Oman fell 80% during lockdown. Ministry seeks to address IP policies to protect traditional knowledge. Foreign Minister receives credential copies of Ambassador of Philippines in Spain. Scholarship program postponed, says Ministry. Oman's Loggerhead turtle population at Masira Island is down by 79%. Expat Indians in Oman shocked, saddened over the death of artists from community. Oman puts in place new law regulating drone usage. Australia switches on COVID-19 traffic light. Pandemic deniers rally in Rome without wearing face masks. Brunei among top 50 safest places during COVID-19. Japan braces for Typhoon Haitian as 1.8 million people ordered to evacuate. Those are the news headlines. Now let's move on to weather. We're reporting from the TFM studio in Alquer, and we've got the daily tip coming right up. If your hair feels dry and frizzy during summer, all you have to do is carry a bottle of argan oil hairspray with you. It's easy to handle, you won't get your hands messy, and it's going to leave your hair feeling hydrated. All you have to do is spray some on and you're good to go for a couple of hours. Now let's take a look at what the weather is like in Muscat. Oman Meteorology and Public Authority for Civil Aviation have issued an alert indicating there will be a reduction in horizontal visibility during fog. Apart from this, we've got clear to partly cloudy skies along the coastal areas of Dhofar and the adjoining mountains. Mainly clear skies over the rest of the Sultanate with a chance of late night to early morning low-level clouds or fog patches over the Oman Sea and the Arabian Sea coast. Now let's take a look at what the weather is going to be like in the rest of the governorates.
Shop, play and win. Purchase Laknor products worth 2 Oman Riyals from Rafiq.om or through the app and win 3 iPhones and 3 PlayStations every week. Rafiq, you order, we deliver.
Hello and welcome back to the midday update. Coming up are the COVID-19 updates from yesterday. The Ministry of Health had registered 692 new COVID-19 cases and 23 deaths in Oman on Sunday. The total cases in the country had now touched 87,072, which includes 82,406 recoveries and 728 deaths, according to the Ministry of Health. 578 recoveries were also reported. The ministry has urged everyone to adhere to social distancing instructions issued by the Supreme Committee and the Ministry of Health, as well as staying at home and not going out unless necessary. Now some local news. A decrease in the level of harmful carbon-based and other pollutants has been noticed during the lockdown to stop the spread of the COVID-19 in Oman. A new study conducted by the Sultanate's Environment Authority shows significant drops in the levels of key pollutants such as sulfur dioxide, nitrogen dioxide, carbon monoxide, and suspended particulate matter. The authority, represented by the Directorate General of Environmental Affairs, analyzed the air quality in 3 areas of Muscat, namely Alquer, Mawale, and Wathaya. Levels of nitrogen dioxide were found to have dropped by 82% in Wathaya, while South Al Mawale saw an overall decrease in impurities ranging from 1.6 to 71.7% for the various pollutants included in the study. Sulfur dioxide levels in alcohol decreased by 36%. The study evaluated pollutant data from two periods, the first being before the arrival of the pandemic in July 2019 and the second after its arrival in April 2020. The causes of pollution, such as economic activities, overpopulation, and vehicular traffic, were also analyzed. In its report, the authority said, measurements of the concentration of gaseous emissions were taken from monitoring stations to study air quality, and the results and figures have shown a significant decrease in pollutant concentrations during the coronavirus pandemic as a result of the decisions of the Supreme Committee, the most important of which was the closure of Muscat Governorate and the halting of schools and commercial activities. This, in turn, was reflected in a broad decline in traffic and other activities, added the report. It must be noted that transportation alone contributes to up to 23% of global carbon emissions, motor vehicle emissions amount to 72%, and air transport causes 11% of the total global emissions of greenhouse gases from the transport sector. To reduce the spread of the disease, the Governorate of Muscat entered a lockdown from April 10 to May 29th. The study conducted by the Environment Authority in the Sultanate was aimed at knowing the extent of the change in ambient air quality during the pandemic and to measure the impact of population and transportation activities on emissions of air pollutants in the Sultanate, based on the readings collected from the 3 stations that were placed in these areas. However, the study found that while it was good to see this decline, this drop in pollution levels is not permanent. Efforts must therefore be taken to work on programs that help permanently decrease pollution levels and preserve the country's natural resources. The Ministry of Commerce, Industry and Investment Promotion, in cooperation with relevant authorities, is seeking to address intellectual property policies in protecting geographical indications and traditional knowledge. These are for preserving and protecting marine and animal products, including their treasures that contribute to advancing the national economy and raising societal awareness about the importance of geographical indications and the need to register them under names that suit their natural or industrial characteristics. The Intellectual Property Department at the Ministry said that protecting geographical indications aims at protecting the environment and biological diversity of an origin, commodity or service that is mainly attributed to the geographical area where goods are produced, developed and processed, and whose origin is that geographical location that affects and was affected by natural and human factors. The Ministry seeks to ensure the conformity of recordable products as a geographical indication to prevent random registration and protect the interests and rights of producers and professionals. Fatma bin Khalfan al-Balushi, biotechnology patent specialist at the Intellectual Property Department, said, "The Omani law has given industrial property legal rights to the applicant for protection for the geographical indication. The Ministry is conducting research with the relevant authorities to protect the geographical indications products." She added that geographical indications are an effective tool in drawing local strategies, especially by contributing to quality and source standards in promoting the geographical location on a large scale. She further said that countries are actively seeking to protect such products to prevent others from practicing them, whether it was an illegal sale, manufacturing or acquisition, or attributing it to a place other than its origin. The Foreign Minister has received copies of the credentials of the Ambassador of Philippines and the Ambassador of Spain to the Sultanate. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs said in a statement that His Excellency Badr Ahmed Hamoud Al-Busaidi received a copy of the credentials of Her Excellency Emilda Macaponadag Banulog, the Ambassador of the Republic of the Philippines, appointed to the Sultanate. In addition, His Excellency welcomed her and wished her success in performing her duties and the bilateral relations between the two friendly countries and people's further progress. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs said in another statement that His Excellency Badr Ahmed Hamoud Al-Busaidi received a copy of the credentials of Her Excellency Maria Luisa Vidorbo Martin Laborda, Ambassador of the Kingdom of Spain, appointed to the Sultanate. In addition, His Excellency welcomed her and wished her success in performing her duties and the bilateral relations between the two friendly countries and people's further progress. All language program scholarships have been postponed to the beginning of next year due to the pandemic, the Director General of Scholarships at the Ministry of Higher Education, Research and Innovation has announced. A statement issued online by the Ministry of Education, Research and Innovation said that more than 760 students for foreign scholarships and grants approved their seats and completed the procedures for uploading their documents. The ministry began completing and checking students' electronic files and transferring them to the Omani cultural attaches. This is in preparation for obtaining university admissions for students and the rest of the other necessary documents such as financial guarantee and others. Lara bin Hassan Obeidat, Director General of Scholarships, said in a statement, "Some students have completed all the requirements and official documents required in their electronic files and are ready to travel to the countries of study and that announce the start of studies in full regularity. All language programs have been postponed to start from the beginning of next year, 2021. The circumstances associated with the outbreak of the pandemic prevent the provision of family housing for students. The ministry has also prepared a list of countries and their start dates according to the latest developments. The Ministry of Foreign Scholarships Department will address every student who appears to have notes on the data entered in their electronic file or have a shortage of documents uploaded to it to ensure providing the best services to students. Educational and awareness materials will reach all students who have received foreign scholarships through their email and will include information about the countries of scholarship and the most prominent academic laws, in addition to the requirements and procedures for obtaining visas and residency, a summary of the laws in force in external scholarships, and general warnings on how the student maintains his security profile abroad," she added. Masira Island, one of the finest and largest nesting ground of loggerhead turtles in the world, has some grim news for this marine species. A study conducted over a period of 30 years on the population trend of loggerhead turtles shows that there has been a 79% decline in the nesting population on the Masira Island, hitherto one of the largest nesting grounds of loggerhead turtles. Its most significant discovery was a 79% decline in the nesting population on the island, which has historically been one of the largest nesting grounds of loggerhead turtles in the world. Various collaborative partners, including the Environment Society of Oman (ESO), Environment Authority in Oman, former Ministry of Environment and Climate Affairs, United States Fish and Wildlife Service, United States National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, National Marine Fisheries Service, and 5 Oceans Environmental Services LLC have announced the publication of a scientific paper, a major milestone in an extensive study in Oman's loggerhead turtle populations. Suad Al-Hati, ESO's executive director, said, "Although no trend analysis was completed for the other marine turtle species in Oman, we assume they are also at risk of decline, being exposed to the same threats from land and sea-based disturbances. Yet, there is still hope. We must continue as a community to raise awareness, to carry out our outreach activities, and to advocate for the protection of our precious marine turtle populations and make sure that the Sultanate continues to be a really important stronghold for turtles." Dr. Thuraya Al-Sariri, Assistant Director General of Conservation at the Environment Authority in Oman, added, "It is only with proper regulation, management and conservation measures, along with strong cooperation with all concerned authorities and the involvement of the local community, that we can be successful in conserving our natural resources and ensuring they are still around for future generations." The reasons for the current population trend are many, some of which are in the high seas beyond Oman's immediate control. But by making sure we are doing our best in Oman, at least the females will have somewhere safe to nest and the hatchlings will be given a good start in life. The authority recognizes the urgency of the situation and urges everyone to redouble their efforts to save this globally important population of turtles. Oman is home to 5 of the 7 species of turtles found in the world, all of which are endangered to various degrees of the IUCN Red List of Threatened Species and face high risk of extinction in the wild. A variety of disturbances like coastal development, light pollution and beach driving, accidental capture in fishing nets, bycatch, ghost fishing, plastic pollution and climate change all impact both the habitat and population numbers. Through our research, monitoring and satellite tracking, we are starting to build up a better idea of how the loggerheads from Masira are being affected, and this will help the authorities to develop plans for protected areas and strategic conservation management action moving forward, said Andrew Wilson, Senior Marine Consultant at 5 Oceans Environment Service LLC. As the country's only non-profit organization dedicated to the environment, ESO has spent the last 16 years working to protect Oman's environment through education, awareness and conservation. Various funds will support ESO to carry out a dedicated net cleanup campaign in 2021 on Masira Island, but it needs much more support to continue its vital work. To make a donation or to find out other ways to get involved, visit www.eso.org.om. Indian expatriates in Oman have been shocked and saddened over the death of their countryman Krishnan, who allegedly took his own life on Saturday. Well-wishers from the Keralite community said he seemed to be in fine spirits just hours prior to his death. A skilled graphic designer and signboard artist, Unni was a well-known member of the Indian cultural community here in Oman. He was a skilled theatre designer, set designer, painter. He loved doing all these things, said PM Jabir, the Indian Social Club's Community Welfare Secretary and a close associate of Unni. Just earlier yesterday, he was in high spirits and was speaking with his friends. So when we heard he had committed suicide, it came as a shock and surprise to all of us. He never shielded away from helping others, he added. Whenever the children of his friends used to ask him for help with their school design projects, he would willingly do so. He was a very humble man and a down-to-earth person, and on meeting him, it was difficult to forget his warmth and his personality. We don't know what caused him to take his own life. Unni Krishnan, who was from a place near Guruvayur in Kerala, is survived by his wife and 2 daughters. Others took to social media to express their sadness at his death, with one saying, "I can't believe Unni is no more," as he put up a photo of the artist as a simple tribute to him. The cause of the death of Unni Krishnan, aged 50, is now being looked into, according to the Royal Oman Police. Speaking to Times of Oman, an ROP official said that the Rui police station received a report at 4 p.m. on Saturday about an Indian expat found hanging with a white rope tied around his neck at his residence on Honda Road in Rui. The crime investigation team and the ROP went to the place of the incident and took the body to the police hospital, he added. The incident was reported by one of his friends who became suspicious after he didn't answer his repeated calls. New rules regarding drone usage could result in fines of up to 600 riyals for unsafe deployment of drones in the Sultanate. The rules released by the Civil Aviation Authority will streamline the usage of drones in Oman with fees ranging between 25 riyals and 500 riyals for permits. His Excellency Dr. Ahmed bin Mohammed bin Salem Al Futtaisi, Chairman of the Board of Directors of the Civil Aviation Authority, issued Decision No. 417 by 2020, regulating the practice of aviation activity and aerial works by means of unmanned aircraft. According to the decision, it is prohibited to bring drones or parts thereof into the Sultanate or manufacture them without approval from the authority. It is not permissible to practice aviation activity and air activities except after obtaining a license from the authority, with the exception of military and security authorities, internal uses in closed buildings, and toys for children of the type of drones whose weight does not exceed 250 grams, provided that they do not carry imaging devices or sensors for data collection. The authority will issue a 1-year renewable license, provided that the applicant is at least 18 years old, the plane is insured, and the user has a license or training to use the aircraft. PACA said that there will be a fine of up to 500 riyals for practicing aviation activity without obtaining a license. The decision classifies drones into 3 categories based on their weight. Drones which are less than 5 kg, aircraft with mass ranging from 5 to 25 kg, and aircrafts weighing more than 25 kgs. To obtain a license to use an aircraft weighing less than 5 kg, individuals must pay 25 riyals as fees. Government agencies and small commercial companies must pay OMR 100 riyals, while the fees for large commercial enterprises are 300 riyals. The fee for obtaining a license for aircraft with a mass of more than 5 kg ranges between 400 riyals to 500 riyals for large commercial companies and between 150 to 300 riyals for small businesses and government institutions. In the event of non-compliance with the air rules and technical security and safety controls applied, the violator shall pay a fine of 600 riyals and a fine of 300 riyals in the event of non-compliance with the time and place specified in the license. Those were the local stories. We'll take a short commercial break and we'll be right back with the international stories.
Shop, play and win. Purchase Laknor products worth 2 Oman Riyals from Rafiq.om or through the app and win 3 iPhones and 3 PlayStations every week. Rafiq, you order, we deliver.
Welcome back to the Midday Update. Coming up are the international stories. The COVID-19 traffic light system has officially started operation in Austria, the government announced on Friday. Due to the consistently high number of new infections, Austria's 3 large cities, Vienna, Linz and Graz, as well as the Tyrolean district of Kufstein, light up in yellow, which means medium risk, while the rest of the country is designated green or low risk, according to a press conference held by Chancellor Sebastian Kurz and other government officials. In the yellow regions, the mask requirements in schools, in retail, in gastronomy, as well as at events will be tightened, said Kurz. He also noted the traffic light will be evaluated weekly and it is important that there are regional measures. There are currently neither orange, which is high risk, nor red, acute situation zones in the country. For Health Minister Rudolf Anschober, the aim of the traffic light system is also prevention. It is important not only to react, but also to take precautions, he said. Green is not carte blanche, said the minister. You have to be just as attentive, careful, and comply with hygiene measures. Austria reported 357 new COVID-19 cases on Friday, raising the tally of infections to 28,729 with 735 deaths, according to health authorities. Pandemic deniers held a protest in the Italian capital on Sunday, drawing a few thousand people near the Circus Maximus in the historic center. Organizers included the far-right FN party, the anti-vax movement, and virus-denying civic groups which complained about all precautionary measures to fight the spread of the COVID-19 in the country. None of the protesters at the demonstration were seen wearing a face mask. The rally sparked condemnation by authorities. Today, we have people gathering in Rome who think the pandemic does not exist, Prime Minister Giuseppe Conte said during an annual event in Rome broadcast live online. We answered them with figures. More than 274,000 people infected and over 35,000 dead, period. Foreign Minister Luigi Di Maio and Rome Mayor Virginia Raggi were among the other political leaders condemning the protest. The event came amid concerns for a limited but constant rise in coronavirus infections registered in the last 5 weeks, as official data and the latest monitoring report by at least National Health Institute ISS showed. In the daily statistical update late on Saturday, the Health Ministry confirmed 276,338 COVID-19 cases in the country overall, with an increase of 1,695 cases over the last 24 hours and 35,534 fatalities. Meanwhile, doctors at the San Raffaele Hospital in Milan said 83-year-old former Prime Minister Silvio Berlusconi, who was admitted to the hospital late on Thursday after being tested positive for the coronavirus, was in stable condition. His clinical conditions remain stable, Alberto Zangrillo, head of the General and Cardiovascular Intensive Care Unit, said in a bulletin. Brunei ranks among the top 50 safest places globally during the pandemic, a global research report said. According to local daily The Borneo Bulletin on Sunday, the study by Deep Knowledge Group, a consortium of companies and non-profits owned by Deep Knowledge Ventures, a Hong Kong-based investment firm, indicated that Brunei's authorities' whole-of-nation approach, strong leader, a very committed population, and the involvement of everyone had managed to curb the COVID-19 spread. The report said the study was made out of 250 nations and territories in a survey that looked into quarantine efficiency, monitoring and detection, as well as emergency preparedness. Brunei reported no new cases of COVID-19 on Sunday, with the national tally of cases standing at 145. The total number of recovered cases remain at 139. There are 3 active cases and 3 deaths that resulted from COVID-19 in Brunei. Typhoon Haishan continued on its path towards southwestern Japan on Sunday, as 1.8 million people in 7 prefectures have been ordered to evacuate immediately. According to the Japan Meteorological Agency, the powerful typhoon is approaching the southernmost prefecture of Okinawa and Amami Oshima Island in Kagoshima Prefecture and is expected to move north of the west coast of Kyushu's mainland from Sunday night through Monday morning. The agency said that the southern parts of Kyushu could see heavy rainfall of up to 600 millimeters and urged people to stay on the highest alert for heavy rain, strong wind gusts, wild waves and tidal surges. As of Sunday evening, over 47,000 households in Okinawa and Kagoshima prefectures had no power. Kyushu Railway Company said all of its bullet and local train services will be cancelled on Monday, while West Japan Railway Company has decided to suspend Sanyo Shinkansen bullet train service between Hiroshima and Hakata stations all day Monday. Those were the news stories. We'll be back tomorrow at the same time, so keep watching.
You've just heard the live feed from the TTV studios on TFM 95.4. Let's talk.